So what do the analysts make of the results? I'm joined now by Professor Sam Maciag from the University of Regina's Department of Politics and International Studies, and Winter Fedyk, a political strategist in Regina. Thanks to both of you for being here. Winter, what stands out to you about the current results?
That I still feel like I'm a little bit in election night. There's still 8 seats outstanding where we don't quite know the results, that are too close to call. I'm interested about whether or not some of the polls earlier in the election that showed that the NDP supporters potentially were going to be more trouble to get to the polls if the results show that there's a skew in that favor and the NDP picks up a few more seats. But honestly, I'm not sure that it matters. I think that they could potentially pick up all 8 seats, and there would still be questions about Miley's leadership and the NDP going forward.
Tom, were you surprised to see the Saskatchewan party with such a strong vote share, higher than the polls were even projecting?
Yeah, and I think, I think one of the big takeaways from this is this is not only the 4th majority, but they've come back with what right now, at least, is an even bigger majority than they had. And it clearly, if this more or less stands, then, this is clearly now Scott Moe's party. It's no longer Brad Wall's party. He's got a mandate not only of his own, but a really, really solid mandate of his own. And so he's made that leap from being the guy who followed Brad Wall to, the premier in his own right with his own mandate and firmly in control of the party.
Winter, what advice would you give to both parties as we go through counting mail-in ballots over the next couple weeks?
Yeah, well, I think for both parties, it's really about getting back to the job at hand, which is governing. And for the Sask party, I think there was some decisions that perhaps were delayed throughout the election. Like, we can't forget that we've been in campaign mode. We started in campaign mode early in 2020, paused that a bit for the pandemic, but no doubt that was at the back of their mind for much of the year. And so some of those decisions are going to be coming to the fore quite soon. For the NDP, I think that they're in a tough spot. We're going to have to wait to see whether or not they pick up any seats. Again, like I said, I'm not sure if it makes much of a difference. I think their job is to demonstrate their value as an official opposition and to really go forward and talk about those proposals and ideas in a little bit more detail about what they would do. I would suggest that maybe they want to ditch some of those talking points that they've been using. Clearly that wasn't resonating in the election, and so they have a little bit more listening to do.
Tom, do you think the NDP is facing an identity crisis of sorts? They are not the same NDP that was once known as the natural governing party of Saskatchewan. What does the party do now to be a strong, viable opposition?
Well, they have 2 jobs. One, they have to be there in the ledge, providing that opposition role. That's hard. It's still a very small caucus. I don't expect it. It might get a few seats bigger. And, they had a tough time in the last sittings of the legislature holding the government to account. It's not going to get any easier. At the same time, they have some soul searching to do about their messaging and what it means to be a social democratic party in this time, in this place. This is not Tommy Douglas's Saskatchewan. They're not the party of Tommy Douglas anymore. They have to figure out who they are and what they're going to be about. And I think that's a deep and serious rethink about who they are and who they want to be as a party, and looking for a message that resonates beyond what is now a relatively small base in the province.
Tom, Winter, thanks so much for your insight tonight.
Thank you.
Professor Sam Maciag and political strategist Winter Fedyk, they both join me from Regina tonight.